So rather than going through report by report, we're going to have a look at some other reporting examples. These are all found on the Report Options tab on the profile page, and so we'll just go through a few of these. So the first one is the Faces data wall. This is really a version 1 feature. It was a bit hard for us to work with, and we haven't got back to essentially finishing this off. It does work, however, it is a pretty manual process. You can think of this a little bit like a two-dimensional scatter chart. You can build your own axes. So in this case, I have the English result, A to E, and then I have NAPLAN bands 5 to 10 here. So you set up what we call the placemat or the data wall, and you can then come along and find a group of students, maybe a roll class at a time, and you physically place them onto the grid using the interface. And when you're finished, you're able to then load this report where it shows you the students' faces or photos with their placement on that grid. You can then record historic ones and have a look at that change over time potentially. Okay, so the next one is the latest results list report. This one here shows the A's to E's, a GPA, their latest results with trend arrows, along with their NAPLAN data from the last import that they've got. So we've got 5 students to a page, and again that can be for any found set. Just in that blue bar as well, it's got the coach, absence, behaviour, and their QCE estimate if they're in year 11 and 12. The next one along is the QCE estimate list report. So this is everything QCE related, including that estimated SLIMS, estimated total core, literacy and numeracy, latest results, and their SLIMS import. Next one is the OP estimate list report. So again, exactly the same, but with OP data. We had a look at this in our managing OP import videos. The next one here is the student journey. Now the student journey is a little bit different. It's designed to show 3 years worth of history for all of their subject areas, and maybe you've got some filter options on the right hand side to show everything or to filter it back to just the subjects that they're still doing. Along this top bar we have their NAPLAN, their PAT and their attendance as well, and we have their latest effort and behaviour onto the right hand edge. So a similar report is the class journey report. So you can pull this up and you can view a class at a time, and for that subject area it's going to show 3 years of history again for each student in that class. The next one along is the weekly attendance list report. These are the traffic light weekly attendance graphs for the last 10 weeks, so a term at a time. We have the term by term percentages and the year to date percentages as well. We generated this one 4 to a page for schools that print these out. They would cut them and give them to the students, and they would actually glue this into their diaries. So it's set up for an A5 page, and you can have four of these to an A4 page. Okay, the next one along is the attendance dashboard. So that's just a little report you can run at any time. We've got this separated here by roll class, but you can just separate them by cohorts as well. And here we're showing the last 3 weeks of attendance. You can do a single week at a time if you want. And you can also then look at the total percentages for each cohort for all of the year to date. So we have some schools who use this. They're just generating it for each of their cohorts. They're sorting them by the best result to the worst for that week period, and they're just cutting that out and pasting it into their newsletter each week to create a little bit of healthy competition. And then they're doing their roll class percentages, and they're sending that out internally to their teachers for their information as well. The next one here is the series comparison report. This one will actually boot up a advanced find panel, so you can find any group of students and compare them to any other group of students. In this case, we're just comparing males versus females, so males in orange, females in aqua. We can have a look at their PAT testing, their A to E, and their NAPLAN over time. And the next page is a page 2 of that same report, and it's a detailed breakdown of their NAPLAN by substrand area and over the different years, with those pink areas there being below national minimum standard. So you can compare 2 different cohorts, you can compare a subset of one cohort versus another. Okay, this next one is the A to E comparison report. This report here takes a little bit of explaining, but basically you've seen similar reports but without these trend percentages. So what it lets you do is it lets you load an early reporting period and a late reporting period, and it's going to measure the change between those two reporting periods. But it also lets you add a label group. So that's how we're grouping these lines here. So in this case, we're looking at the results from the end of year 4 to the start of year 6, but we've grouped them by their year 5 classes. And this number over here would be the staff ID in each case. So the idea of this one is we're looking at that relative gain in year 5, but without actually referencing any year 5 results. So you can see that change in the number of A's, B's, C's, D's, E's over that period of time.